What the fuck is up, everyone? Pardon my language. Actually, you know what? It's my podcast. I can say whatever I want. So, what the fuck is up? Happy Monday. What a weekend we had here. We had the NFL draft going on starting Thursday. Sorry I didn't get a podcast out sooner. Kind of busy, A lot of life stuff happening for me. I don't know how I'm going to start these podcasts every time I do one, so it might be different every time, or I might just fucking wing it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to talk about the NFL draft, the Jordan documentary, The Boys season 2, and also I'm going to review my video game chair I got in the mail. Currently sitting in it right now. It's pretty amazing. I'll talk about some video game stuff, get into that a little bit later on in the show. So here we go. Blast off in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Well, I'm going to go over some draft grades for all 32 teams here. So from A to W, that's Arizona to Washington. So I'm gonna go start from there. So I'm using Fantasy Pros website because fuck all the other websites. They were all like loaded with pop-ups and shit. This is the only one I get to work here. I don't know why they're trying to feed me all this bullshit. But starting off with the Arizona Cardinals, it looks like Fantasy Pros gave them an A. They had some pretty good picks. They got Isaiah Simmons with their first pick in the draft. Solid. I don't know why the Panthers didn't take him, but hey, it is what it is. And they had some key picks for them. Overall, they got an A. I believe. I agree with that. Critically, I think I really agree with that because I think Isaiah Simmons was a steal there, and it adds to the depth of their defense right there. So they're a solid A minus for them. So an A minus, perfect for them. Now, moving on to the Atlanta Falcons. They took A.J. Terrell, cornerback, Clemson, in their first pick. They got a B from Fantasy Pros. Looking at the rest of their draft, they kind of just shored up on the defense. They literally went all defense and special teams. Good for them. Their offense is pretty loaded, but I still hate their jerseys. So they got a B on this for a grade. I'm going to give them a B minus just because their jerseys are going to downgrade their performance. That's my theory. Just kidding. Just kidding, everyone. Now on to the Baltimore Ravens, who got a B minus. Now they took Patrick Queen, linebacker LSU, in their first pick. Now I thought they had a little bit better of a draft than a B minus. I'm gonna give them like a B plus, even though they're my rival in my division because I'm a Browns fan. But I give them a B plus there. I think they had a solid draft. They took a lot of offense, a lot of defense there. Had They had 10 picks in the draft. So B minus, I guess that's solid. Buffalo Bills, they took AJ Apenzia, edge rusher, Iowa, in their first pick. They got a C plus. I agree with that. I think that Buffalo kind of just shored up some positions. They took a pretty beast running back from Utah, Zach Moss, which I think he'll do pretty good. Now moving on to Carolina, they got a B plus. They took Derek Brown, their defensive lineman, with their first pick. I think they still fucked up not taking Isaiah Simmons, but Derek Brown's going to be a beast for them to shore up the interior. So a B plus, I guess I can agree with that. From Fantasy Pros, pretty solid. Chicago Bears, they got a D plus. They took a tight end, Cole Kemet, tight end Notre Dame, with their first pick, and then they kind of just went defense from there and one receiver. Kind of agree with that. The Bears are kind of I think they're a lost soul at this point. They traded for Khalil Mack, which was great initially, but if you look at the logistics of stuff, I think the Raiders are kind of on the up and up on that deal. So go Raiders for stealing that deal right there, getting all those picks. Now let's go to the Bengals, who obviously took Joe Burrow with the number 1 pick in the draft. Fantasy Pros gave them an A, and they got T. Higgins with their second pick. I think they had a solid draft. I would also agree with they got an A. AJ Green, we don't know what he's going to be doing or where he is. I actually don't even know where he went. I don't know if he's still injured or what's going on. I got to look into that a little bit more. But they got an A. I agree with that. Cincinnati with an A, solid A right there. Now down to my Cleveland Browns. They took Jedrick Willis. Now offensive line, we needed him. Got the dude from Tennessee on the other side for tackle. So we got 2 beast tackles now to protect Baker. Now, I loved our draft, honestly. Fantasy Pros gave him a B plus. I think that's solid. I agree with the B plus. Being biased, I would give them a higher grade, but at B plus is solid. I don't want to overreact because in the past our draft picks have been lackluster. Now, I love our last pick in the draft, which was Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's a receiver. I think he's going to be clutch because we got rid of Antonio Callaway, and I think that he will fit in nicely with this offense. Now, on to the Dallas Cowboys. They took CeeDee Lamb with their first pick, and they got an A-. Overall, I think they had a pretty solid draft. They took Trayvon Diggs with their second pick, cornerback Alabama. I think overall their draft was good. They got an A-. I agree with that. You know, Cowboys are Cowboys. I'm not really a Cowboy fan. Now, Broncos, they got a B. Fantasy Pros gave them a B. They got Jerry Jeudy with their first pick, and they took another receiver with their next pick, KJ Hamler. I believe I would upgrade them to a B+, actually. I think Jerry Jeudy, at where they got him in the draft, super solid. They got him at number 15 pick. Now, to me, he was the best receiver in the draft. I see a lot of Julio Jones in him. I see a lot of beastness in him. Granted, there was a lot of receivers in this draft that are really, really good, but I still think Jerry Jeudy was the best one. And I believe CeeDee Lamb was the first one to go. Or was it the Raiders receiver? One of those, I don't know. But I just think Jerry Jeudy's going to be the best one out of all of them. Now on to the Detroit Lions. They got an A. They took the cornerback from Ohio State. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Jeff Ogduka, I guess. That's how you pronounce it. Who knows? But they had the number 3 pick, and they took a corner. That's a bold move. They got an A out of this. Looking at their draft, they kind of got some depth here. Some guys that I like that I actually recognize here. An A, I guess I can agree with that. I give them a B+, actually, for my grade. I think an A Fantasy Pros is a little high, but a B+ is decent. Now, moving on to the Green Bay Packers, who got a F grade from Fantasy Pros. I have to agree with this. I'll give them a D+, just give them the benefit of the doubt. They took Jordan Love with their first pick at quarterback, and now we all know Aaron Rodgers has years left on his contract. So essentially, you're kind of reliving the situation from when Aaron Rodgers got drafted and Brett Favre was on the team still. So this is a very debatable concept here that everyone's talking about lately on the web. They need a receiver. They need more weapons on that offense, and they didn't even draft one. They drafted a running back, a tight end, a linebacker. What is that? Offensive line. So they got some pieces, but they didn't take a receiver in their draft. That's a head scratcher for me. Green Bay, what are you doing? Front office, what are you doing? Houston Texans got a D+. They took Ross Blacklock, who's a defensive lineman from TCU. Good for them. They got a D+. I mean, they traded DeAndre Hopkins. He fucked up there, so D+. I agree with that. Now, moving on to the Colts, who got a C+. They took Michael Pittman, receiver, USC. My theory on receivers, they go to USC, they're kind of middle of the pack. I mean, lately at least. We haven't had a great one come out. I mean, there's some solid receivers there, but Michael Pittman, he could be the next. Who knows? C+, agree with that, I guess. Maybe a C for me, I guess. Now, Jacksonville Jaguars, they took a corner, C.J. Henderson from Florida. They got a C-. I agree with that. I mean, not much to talk about there, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chiefs, they took a running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, LSU. So they got a C, Fantasy Pros. Agree with that. I mean, nothing there. Super Bowl champs, they really didn't need depth. The Las Vegas Raiders, they took Henry Ruggs. I'm pretty sure he was the first receiver off the board at number 12. I'm pretty sure. So they took him. They got a C-. So I give them like a D+, honestly. The Raiders, I think they should have taken Jerry Jeudy. I think he'd be more of a beast for them in their system, but Henry Ruggs might be faster, so it might work out for them. Now moving on to the Chargers. Now, from San Diego, even though they're Los Angeles Chargers, they're still at heart the home team from San Diego. They got a C. They took Justin Herbert with their first pick, and then they traded up into the first round again to get Kenneth Murray. Herbert has slight potential, but I'm not really too excited for him. But Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma is going to be a straight beast. So I think the pick at Kenneth Murray was great, but they should have maybe looked to trade out of that pick at 5 to maybe get more picks for next year and just tank for Trevor Lawrence. But they got a C. I agree with that. Solid. The Rams got a D+. They took Cam Akers, running back, their first pick. At this point, what happened to the Rams? They were in such a good position, and then all their guys just kind of either got old or they got contract heavy, and they just kind of went downhill from there. So, fucking D+. Yep, fuck them. The Dolphins, they got Tua at their first pick. They got an A grade. I agree with that. I think the Dolphins had a lot of picks, and they did well. They nailed the nailed it with the hammer, sealed the deal. Got an A. Minnesota Vikings, they got a B plus. They took Justin Jefferson, receiver, after losing Stephon Diggs. Justin Jefferson will be a nice piece. They got a B plus. Kind of agree with that. They had a solid draft. They had a lot of picks, so I mean, fuck them. Moving on to the Patriots, they got a D minus. Now I'm kind of skeptical with the Patriots at this point. They took a linebacker, a safety slash linebacker. His name's Kyle Duggar. I think they're just kind of going to tank next year. So a D plus or D minus for them is agreeable, but I think they got some sleeper picks in here. So you never know. It always turns out to be an A later on in their careers. Excuse me. So next we have the New Orleans Saints, who got a B minus. They took an offensive lineman, Cesar Ruiz. It's a solid pick. You got to protect Drew Brees. I agree with that. B minus. Moving on to the New York Giants, they took Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, Georgia. They got a C plus. Yeah, I agree with it. Just give them a C for me. I guess they had a solid draft, I guess. I mean, decent. I mean, the Giants are up and coming, man. Don't sleep on them. I think in a few years they're going to be pretty good. Now, the Jets got an A. They took offensive lineman Ika Becton, offensive tackle. They got an A. Yeah, I think the Jets had a pretty good draft here. Looking at their picks, they got some depth in some positions they needed. So, yeah, an A for them. Fuck them. I'm not a Jets fan. The Eagles, this is another draft picks that they had that were very questionable. They got a C minus in Fantasy Pros. Now, they took a receiver with their first pick, Jalen Reagor, and then they took Jalen Hurts. They like the Jalens, apparently. That's why they're in their draft theme here. Quarterback, Oklahoma. Now, we know they have Carson Wentz. You take Jalen Hurts, which I know Eagles fans were pissed off because they wanted receivers and all this bullshit. But you know what? If you think about it, Wentz is always hurt. When they went to the promised land and they got that Super Bowl title, who led them there? Nick Foles. So having a solid backup might be beneficial to them. So, I mean, you can run some sub packages with them and have Wentz coming out and Hurts coming in, and it will just like mess with the defense. You can run some crazy plays right there. I think that's what Doug Peterson wants on the Eagles. So C minus for them. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a C, a solid C, C plus maybe. I don't know. I kind of like their picks, honestly. Now moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They went receiver Chase Claypool. They got a D as their grade on Fantasy Pros. I agree with that. I don't like the Steelers, so fuck them. The Niners got a B minus. They took Kinlaw, defensive lineman, who's going to be a monster on that defensive line. They're already loaded there. So fuck. The Niners are going to be good, man. B minus for them. I agree with that, I guess. Seahawks got a D. I don't know what's up with the Seahawks draft picks lately. The past few years are very questionable. They took Jordan Brooks, linebacker, Texas Tech. I know they need defense, but some of their picks just lately in the past few years kind of questionable. D, I agree with that. Tampa Bay got a B plus. They took Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle, and they took a safety. A B plus, agree with it. Tennessee Titans, let's see here. They took Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle. They got a B minus. I agree with that. Now on to the last team. Washington Redskins got a C plus. They took Chase Young with the second pick, and then from there it kind of went downhill a little bit. It's pretty interesting, but C plus, I would give them I guess a C plus. Agree with that. Fuck them. Washington Redskins, they're on the up and coming though, so we'll see what happens. So there you go with that. Now I'm going to move on to the Jordan documentary. We had episodes 3 and 4 last night, so let's talk about those a little bit. Well, thinking about it, I know I ran through those a lot. I'm sorry if I just rambled a lot through those and I had biased opinions and I pronounced names wrong. I understand that, but I just had to get through them quickly. I didn't want this podcast to be super long because it's just me, so I thought I'd get through every team, give them a grade, agree with the grade, disagree with the grade. I thought it was pretty interesting. But Michael Jordan documentary is probably my favorite documentary of all time already. Now, reliving some of these moments are very exciting. Episodes 3 and 4 kind of went over like Dennis Rodman a lot and just his teammates. I feel like they're setting up to the long haul, to the last dance. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this breakaway, cut back, jump back and forth in time shit, I understand it, but I mean, I like a chronological order type shit. So jumping back and forth is kind of cool. It's just tell everyone's backstory. So in a way I hate it, in a way I like it. It's kind of weird. I know it's contradicting right there, but Dennis Rodman, holy shit, man. What a weird guy, but I love this guy, man. The way he plays basketball. The way he talks about rebounding is something so phenomenal. How he practiced rebounding and him leading all these years in rebounding and just like how he's kind of lost in his personality and just how he's human, and he's given into like the vices outside of basketball. So he thinks, in his opinion, basketball is kind of like nothing to him. And he said he would do it for free, and all the other stuff is what he pays for. So it's kind of an interesting concept. So a mind like that is very interesting, and how him and Phil Jackson got along so well was very interesting to me. I never took Phil Jackson as like more of a hippie, but after like learning more about him, he's more of a hippie guy. I kind of like him even more now. He's the king of rings, pretty much, winning championships as a player, a coach, and all that fun stuff. And damn, it's just watching these moments. It got me so hyped last night. It was like I was watching them at like 1 a.m. and I'm watching episode 3 and 4, and I was only gonna watch one and watch the other one today, but I was like so hyped after the first episode, I just couldn't stop watching them. The disrespect that the Detroit Pistons had for the Bulls is just remarkable to me. Obviously that personality and that temper and stuff wouldn't go in today's game. I thought it's fun. It was fun for back then. Now, Isaiah Thomas views the situation as it is now today or whatever hell it may be, but Jordan doesn't give a shit. I think that legitimately they were trying to hurt the man, and they succeeded a few times, but he came back and he went in the weight room just like the rest of the team, and they came back even stronger that one the second year. Or the third time they played him, technically, 91, I think it was. You build some muscle and you get some strength in you, and you realize that you can beat these guys. Now, the Detroit Bad Boys is an interesting team. They were very talented. Don't sleep on Isaiah Thomas. He was a great point guard. He locked down. They had a good defensive team when they were young, but when they all kind of split away and kind of lost their way, that's when they fell the downfall for the Bulls, and the Bulls just got better. They were young, up and coming, and it is what it is. It's how it turned out. The GOAT conversation. But Michael Jordan is just so good. Looking back, it's just goddamn, man. I was only like 1 year old in the '91 finals. I wasn't even I don't even know if I was one. I think I was an infant still. I was 0 years old. And he was out there playing basketball, and I was one. I didn't see him until I was like 1998, but goddamn, man. If I was born a little earlier, I would have witnessed all this greatness live. It just kind of makes me think, like, what if, It's pretty crazy. But reliving this just makes me solidify Michael Jordan as like the GOAT of all time. I don't know if anyone compares, just his competitiveness and how he viewed the game and how passionate he was. And he didn't, go into the bullshit with other people. Like, other people were into other things, like drinking and gambling, whatever it may be. He was just kind of fucking focused on winning championships, and that was all year long. And I respect that. And a work ethic like that is the best I've ever seen. Best of all time, the greatest, the GOAT, all that. So far, I would rate this fucking 100 out of 10. It's amazing. The Last Dance, check it out. I highly recommend it. Fuck, it's hot in here. I'm in my room. It's currently in San Diego. It's like fucking 90 degrees. I got my fan on. Sweating my balls off. But talking about shit, The Boys. It's a show on Amazon Prime. It's about superheroes. Kind of superheroes that are popular as celebrities, and they're politicians, and it's a different take on superheroes. They're kind of like douchebags. I watched this last week. I probably finished it in like 3 days. I wanted to like space it out because I was like, I don't want to burn through a show. I'd rather just like get used to something. But once I started watching it, I really loved this show. It's rated TVMA. It's very, very gory, and the decisions, I'm not going to spoil anything. But the decisions that people make in the show, the superheroes, are kind of like real life shit that like a real superhero would go through. And after watching it, I kind of fell in love with the idea of how fucked up it was, if you really think about it. It was last year, I think. I watched that movie Brightburn. It was like the different take on Superman. I fucking love that movie. So watching this, it kind of reminded me of that movie. And I was like all in. Because I was like, oh man, these superheroes are fucked up. They're not like perfect, and they kind of have a dark path, and they all have these vices, and and it comes down to they have emotion, and that's what it comes down to. So they do some fucked up shit, and they have to make critical decisions on certain situations, and it's pretty fucked up. So if you have time, which I'm sure you do, quarantine, you ain't doing shit. You're not in school. I don't know what you're doing. Fucking playing with your dick or something. I don't know. But if you have time, what you do, like I just fucking said, I don't know why I said that again. Anyways, watch it. I think it's only 8 episodes, and season 2 should come out this year. I think they're already done filming, and it makes me want to have a Australian accent after it, you know. So check it out. I give it a full beer of approval. Check it out. It's a pretty good show. It's got a 8.7 on IMDb, a 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 7 out of 10 on TV.com, which I've never heard of. But whatever. But I check it out. It's fucking dope. So check it out. Well, I finally upgraded my chair in my room. I got the Gtracing gaming chair. I'm going to review it. I'm sitting in it currently. I will say that I'm building up some sweat underneath my ass right now, but it is hot. I should have maybe invested in the microfiber cool shit. This one's like leather, I believe. I got it mainly for the lumbar support. I think I spent like $155 on this chair, which it's a decent price. It was on sale on their website, so that was a good thumbs up right there. So far, getting it delivered, it was pretty quick. It said I was going to get it in like May, but it came like 2 weeks early, so that was a big bonus. Putting it together, it was kind of straightforward. I thought it was pretty fun to put it together. It wasn't too complicated. I was really confused on one thing though, like when I was putting the lumbar support on and the pillow, like I had them like mixed up, so it just looked weird, and that was my fault because I can't read apparently. But the instructions were just pictures, and it had like the layout of the chair and whatever, and I put it together. Whatever, I'm sitting in it, it works. If I had to review it, I mean, I've only had it about a week, and have I sat in it a lot because I do a lot of schoolwork? No. So, I mean, I can't really gauge it right now, but from what I can tell, it reclines fully. It's comfortable for me. The only thing I have is that my ass is super sweaty. So, I mean, I would give it a beard of approval if you're looking to spend a little bit of less money. I mean, there was a chair I was looking at, which was the Titan, I believe. They say it's like the best one. I think that was like $400. But that shit apparently has like some microfiber cool shit on it, and it keeps you cool all the time, and it's super comfy, but it didn't recline, so I didn't really look into it. So I just know a lot of people have these chairs, and I thought I'd fuck with one, and yeah, I would give it a beard of approval on that. Check it out. We're looking to spend maybe like $150, $160 on a game chair or like an office chair. It reclines. One of their videos on their website was like, you can take a nap in this chair. I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking do that right now, but I haven't. So mainly I've just been sitting on it, haven't reclined back much on it, just kind of doing homework and shit on it. So check it out. It's a pretty cool gaming chair. I mean, if you're a wide load, not to call you fat or anything, but if you got some love handles on you, you ain't gonna fit in this chair. It's very snug and very narrow. I fit in it surprisingly. I'm 6'4", like 235. So I mean, I'm proportionate. You know, I hit the gym. I'm fucking jacked. Is what it is. But I fit in it somehow. I think the weight requirement goes up to like 275 on this chair. So, I mean, if I can get to 250 maybe, who knows, but fuck it. But yeah, it rolls around, it's cool, check it out, maybe buy one. Invest into a good, comfortable chair. And yes, I know my audio quality is shit, but I am currently gonna order a microphone today. So I'm putting this up, it's Monday, the 27th of, what is it? April. Yep, that's the day. So yeah, I'm gonna order a Yeti microphone. I might get a camera. I might start doing like a video with my podcasts. I think a facial reaction would be kind of good. And that's gonna be the podcast for today. I appreciate everyone that listens, and you know, be safe out there. Wash your fucking hands. Clean your ass as well. Maybe take a shower. I know you fucks have been just at home sitting down, not doing shit, collecting sweat in your glands. Take a shower. Wash your hair too. Maybe your beard if you have a beard too. And ladies, wash your mustache if you have one right now, and your hairy legs and your armpits. Now I'm just going full in detail here. But yeah, everyone have a great day, and I am out. Kritic Kyle. Have a great day. Take care.